Most people don't remember the first time they used a credit card, not because it wasn't important, but because nothing went wrong. No alarms, no warnings, no moment that said, "This choice will matter later." It just worked. A tap, a beep, a receipt, and life moved on. That's the problem. Credit cards don't introduce themselves as risk. They arrive as convenience, as progress, as proof that you're finally stepping into adulthood. You're told this is how responsible people live. This is how you build a future. This is how you stop falling behind. But what no one explains is how silently credit rewires behavior, how it changes the way money feels, how it stretches time between decision and consequence, how it teaches you to borrow from tomorrow without ever asking tomorrow for permission. This isn't a video about fear, it's about clarity. Because credit cards don't ruin people who are reckless. They trap people who are uninformed, people who were never taught the rules, people who thought minimum payments were progress, people who believed rewards meant winning. This documentary isn't here to scare you away from credit cards. It's here to teach you how to use them without being used by them. What to pick, what to skip, what actually matters, and what looks important but isn't. So if you're thinking about getting your first credit card, if you already have one and feel unsure, or if you've ever wondered why something so small can quietly shape your financial future, stay with me. Because the most dangerous financial mistakes are the ones that feel normal at the beginning. And it all starts before the first swipe. Part 1. The envelope. There's a moment most people remember, not because it's dramatic, but because it's quiet. An envelope among other mail, your name printed clearly, official enough to feel important. Inside is a thin piece of plastic, light, easy to hold, easy to underestimate. And almost immediately, the world starts talking. This is how you build credit. This is how adults live. This is how you get ahead. No one asks what you understand. No one asks what you don't. Because nothing bad happens immediately. And that's how it begins. Part 2. The first swipe. The first swipe never feels reckless. It's usually something small, something justified, something normal. You hand the card over, the machine beeps, approved. No cash leaves your hand, no pause in your mind, no sense of loss. Life just continues. And that's the lesson your brain learns. This doesn't hurt. But delayed pain doesn't disappear. It waits. Part 3. Why credit cards don't feel like money. Cash is honest. You feel it leave, you see it reduce, you know it's gone. Credit cards remove that moment. They turn spending into permission instead of sacrifice. And when spending feels easy, you do it more often. Not more recklessly. Quietly. Gradually. Naturally. That's why beginners don't crash. They drift. Part 4. The myth of free money. No one thinks they're borrowing. Borrowing sounds serious, temporary, risky. What beginners think is, I'll handle it later. Later feels flexible. Later feels far away. But later always arrives with interest. Free money isn't free, it's deferred responsibility. And responsibility always collects. Part 5. Why people warn you. When people warn you about credit cards, they're rarely warning you about the card itself. They're warning you about what happened after the card. About the slow forgetting. Forgetting how much was already spent. Forgetting when the bill was due. Forgetting that borrowed money still belongs to someone else. Most warnings come from people who once said, I'll pay it off next month. And then next month came, and the balance stayed. Their fear doesn't come from ignorance. It comes from memory. From realizing that discipline is easy in theory and difficult in routine. But fear alone doesn't teach control. Fear makes people avoid learning. Understanding builds habits. This isn't about being scared of credit cards. It's about respecting what they demand from you every month. Part 6. What credit cards actually do. Strip away the commercials. Ignore the points, the miles, the shiny language. A credit card does only 3 things. First, it lends you money you didn't earn yet. Second, it watches how you behave with that money. Third, it reports your behavior to systems you'll need later. Everything else is decoration. Cash back is noise. Rewards are incentive. Branding is psychology. The real product isn't the card. It's you, your habits, your patience, your consistency. Every month, quietly, your behavior is measured, and beginners rarely realize they're being evaluated long before they feel powerful. Part 7. Credit scores, the quiet record. Your credit score doesn't shout at you. It doesn't explain itself. It doesn't warn you emotionally. It simply records. Every payment, every delay, every decision. One late payment won't end your life, but it won't disappear either. Credit has a long memory, longer than excuses, longer than intentions. It doesn't care why something happened, only that it did. That's why early discipline matters so much, because fixing credit later is harder than protecting it early. Part 8. The pressure to start. There's a pressure no one talks about. Friends casually mention their cards. Ads promise ease and status. Life feels like it's accelerating. Waiting starts to feel like weakness. So people apply not because they're prepared, but because they don't want to feel behind. They don't want to look inexperienced. They don't want to ask questions. But comparison is expensive. Readiness is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. And rushing into credit is one of the most common financial mistakes beginners make. Part 9. What beginners should actually pick. Your first credit card shouldn't excite you. It shouldn't flatter you. It shouldn't promise lifestyle upgrades. It should protect you. No annual fee. Simple rules. Clear statements. Low complexity. A card you understand completely is better than a card that feels impressive. Boring cards don't punish curiosity. They forgive small mistakes. And forgiveness matters at the beginning. Part 10. Why low limits save you. High limits feel like trust, like recognition, like growth. But validation isn't preparation. Low limits do something powerful. They keep mistakes survivable. They force awareness. They create friction. They slow you down. You learn to track spending because you have to. Confidence should come from control, not access. Part 11. What to skip completely. Some cards are designed to overwhelm beginners. They look sophisticated. They sound rewarding. They hide complexity behind branding. Skip cards with high annual fees. Skip confusing reward structures. Skip lifestyle promises. If a card makes you feel important, pause. Credit doesn't need ego. It needs restraint. Part 12. The minimum payment illusion. Minimum payments feel like relief, like a way out, like breathing room. They're not. Minimum payments stretch debt. They slow progress. They let interest work longer. Banks don't advertise minimums to help you. They advertise them to protect themselves. Full payments protect you. Part 13. Interest, the invisible drain. Interest is quiet. It doesn't announce itself dramatically. It erodes slowly. A balance that never shrinks fast enough. A statement that looks familiar every month. Time works against impatience. Interest rewards waiting. For them. Every unpaid balance is permission for money to leave you later. Part 14. Credit utilization, the unseen rule. Paying on time isn't enough. How much you use matters too. High utilization signals stress, even if you pay it off. Silence builds trust faster than activity. Using less tells lenders you don't rely on credit to survive. Less movement builds confidence in systems. Part 15. One card is enough. More cards don't mean progress, they mean responsibility. Each card adds dates, balances, attention. One card teaches discipline. Multiple cards test it. There is no reward for speed. Part 16. Credit and Identity. Credit cards subtly change identity. They normalize borrowing. They soften resistance. Approval starts to feel like achievement. But approval is not success. It's conditional trust, and trust can be withdrawn. Part 17. Emergencies versus emotions. Credit cards are tools, not comfort, not celebration, not therapy. Debt grows fastest when spending is emotional. Pause before every swipe. Ask why. Part 18. Statements tell the truth. Always read your statement, not just the balance. Patterns tell stories. Habits reveal reality. Awareness prevents denial. Ignoring numbers doesn't erase them. Part 19. How people actually fall into debt. People don't fall suddenly. They drift. A few late payments, a few justifications, a growing silence. Then shame appears. And shame avoids numbers. That's the real danger. That first swipe taught me something important. Money doesn't disappear when you don't feel it leave. It waits. Credit cards don't destroy lives overnight. They do it quietly, when misunderstood. So start boring. Move slowly. Pay attention. Because credit cards don't reward intelligence. They reward consistency. And consistency builds freedom, without noise. 21. The psychology of spending. You've probably noticed it yourself. Swiping a card feels different than handing over cash. With cash, you feel the weight leave your hand. The physical act connects you to the value. You pause, sometimes hesitate, maybe reconsider. Credit cards bypass all of that. There's a subtle shift in your brain. The transaction becomes abstract. The cost is deferred. The impact delayed. Psychologists call it temporal discounting. Future pain feels distant. Immediate pleasure feels real. That's why a $50 snack feels harmless at the time, but it adds up over weeks. Every swipe can be a tiny negotiation between your present self and your future self. And the truth is, your future self is not always patient, not always forgiving. This is where awareness becomes more important than discipline. It's easy to be disciplined when life feels abstract. It's hard when every day is real, bills hit, and decisions accumulate. When using a credit card, ask yourself, would I make this choice if the money were already gone? If the answer is no, pause. Part 22. Credit cards and habits. Money is habit. Credit cards are habit accelerators. They reward repetitive behavior. They punish the neglectful quietly. Paying on time? The system whispers approval. Your score slowly rises. Paying late? The system whispers consequences. Interest builds. Your record suffers. The danger for beginners is treating credit cards like isolated events. Every swipe builds a story. Every late payment writes a chapter. It's not the one-time mistake that sinks people. It's the small, repeated neglect. Think of your credit history as a garden. Each action, swipe, payment, missed deadline, is a seed. Some seeds grow into healthy plants, others grow into weeds. By the time you see the weeds, they've spread. Habits formed early are the most powerful. Start right. Start slow. Build habits that protect, not harm. 23. Rewards, cash back, and the temptation trap. Banks and credit card companies are master storytellers. Earn points, cash back on groceries, travel rewards when you swipe. It's tempting. It feels like free money. But here's the truth. Rewards only have value if you pay your balance in full. Miss a payment, and all those points vanish in interest. The illusion of rewards can make beginners spend on things they don't need. Rewards are a decoration, a bonus, not a reason to borrow. Think of it like dessert. Delicious, but optional. If you chase rewards at the expense of discipline, you are setting up the slowest, quietest form of debt. Real financial progress comes from consistency, not points. Part 24. Reading the fine print. Few people read the full terms. Even fewer understand them. And yet, your future self will pay for what you ignore. Interest rates, grace periods, late fees, annual fees, balance transfer rules. It's all there, hidden in the language that feels boring, complex, or intimidating. The first step to mastery isn't swiping, it's reading. Don't skim, don't skip, don't assume. Every clause tells a story about your responsibilities. Every number defines the rules of engagement. Understanding your card is not optional. It's survival. Part 25. The power of paying early. Beginners often think payment is a monthly obligation, but timing matters. Paying early reduces interest accumulation. It signals control to your lenders. And psychologically, it trains you to respect money before it leaves your account. There's a quiet satisfaction in clearing your balance while the month is still young. You're no longer chasing deadlines, you're setting the pace. Early payment transforms credit cards from a source of stress into a tool of empowerment. Part 26. The dangers of multiple cards. One card at a time. It's not a rule, but a strategy. Multiple cards multiply complexity. Multiple due dates, multiple statements, multiple opportunities to forget. Beginners often chase credit lines, thinking more is better. More cards mean more temptation, more mistakes, more pressure. One card is enough to learn discipline. Only add more when you've mastered the first. Remember, your financial power grows from control, not access. Part 27. Emotional spending and self-deception. This is where beginners get caught. It's not a lack of money, it's a lack of awareness. Swiping when frustrated, buying when lonely, overspending to impress. Credit cards hide the cost, but they don't hide the consequence. Debt grows silently. Anxiety grows silently. Your emotional state is as important as your financial state. Learn to pause. Learn to recognize triggers. Learn to distinguish wants from needs. A card used wisely builds trust. A card used for comfort builds chains. Part 28. The long game. Credit cards are not a sprint. They are a marathon. Every decision compounds, slowly, quietly. Pay on time. Keep balances low. Avoid unnecessary debt. Do these consistently for years, and you have financial trust that feels invisible but real. Miss these consistently for months, and you have stress that feels overwhelming. The long game is patience, not excitement. Focus on consistency over cleverness. Consistency builds options, freedom, calm.